GenCon 2025. Welcome to another video from Cardboard East. My name's Jay. I play board games from Asia and share what I find with all of you. Welcome to the GenCon 2025 video. Hey, thank you for watching these videos. I really can't thank you enough for watching it. A lot of you out there have watched multiple Cardboard East videos, but you haven't subscribed yet. So please take the time to subscribe. It's absolutely free. It's nothing to you, but it really helps this channel grow. As a promise to you, I'm going to work really hard to make sure that all this content is absolutely amazing, to teach you more about board games from Asia every week. And I want to get each of these videos to get better and better and better over time. And that is going to be my promise to you for subscribing. GenCon 2025 was absolutely bananas. It was the first GenCon in years where all 4 days were sold out completely. Most of the publishers that I talked to were expecting something kind of slow. And Thursday was just record-breaking sales for everyone. As for the Busy 8 Games booth, we were just packed from 10 to like 3 or 4 p.m. Just completely straight, huge line. Tons of sales, tons of people there playing games. I did a chance to go run around and pick up all my review copies until Saturday morning. So what you see here, as well as some of the other stuff that's over there, that didn't arrive until Saturday morning where I collected all these things. Also, while I was at GenCon, unbeknownst to me at that time, but now I know, things were mailed to me in the mail. So this weekend was just a wild set of days where a lot of games came into Cardboard East, and well, now I got a lot of gaming to do. So let's start off with the most touching thing that I got, and that was one of the Patreons out there. Thank you so much for this. Gave me a Cardboard East dice tray, and I believe that it's homemade. It has this really gorgeous koi fish in the back, and I could just poop it up, and then now it's a really nice die tray, and it has this nice padding here, so all the dice that land on it are nice and quiet and not obnoxiously loud. So I'm incredibly grateful for this. Thank you so much for stopping by the booth and saying hi. And I mean, who doesn't love gifts? But this has a nice personal touch, and it really, really warmed my heart. Thank you so much. Next is probably my favorite thing that I got at GenCon. I mean, I love games. I love games. But my favorite thing by far, and I really need to shout this out, was the Ivy Studio review bag. Look how nice and big this is. This is a really proper bag, and I will be using this all the time. Even better, it came out with this, so it slides onto luggage. So if I'm going on an international trip, which I do a few times a year, this is going to be amazing. Thank you. And look at this, Ivy Studio just really knocked it out of the park this year with their room and booth, and I can't thank them enough. And they're not an Asian publisher. They're another publisher here in Tennessee, but thank you, Ivy Studio, for being awesome. Moving on, there are a lot of great games here. I went to the All Play Media event at the Yard House. I had a great time, great food, great people, all these content creators out there, everyone's chatting, everyone knows each other, everyone's having a great time. They gave out Twinkle Twinkle, which again isn't an Asian board game, but I just want to shout out to it. At first I thought there were 2, and there was a base game, and then there's an expansion. Another content creator asked me, he's like, why did they give me 2? And I told them, one's the expansion. And they thought I was joking, and they gave the base game out to somebody, only to find out through me. They was like, no, I wasn't joking. They really gave you the base game and the expansion. And like, oh no, and they reached into the bag and they realized that they had given them the base game. Like, hey, look at the bright side. If you had given them the expansion, that's just far worse. It's like, oh yeah, here you go, it's a free game. An expansion to a game that you don't have. That would have been far worse. So you have an awkward request of getting the game back versus just looking like a terrible human being. So hey, that's a funny story. Also from All Play, they came out with Vivo, the American version of Vivo, which is this nice, cute box with the artwork done by Sai Beppu. Vivo is one of my favorite, I guess, trick-taking plus games, where it's like a gateway plus, gateway trick-taking games. It's really easy to wrap your head around, and it packs quite a little punch, quite excellent. Also, Chris Yee has his first game from All Play called Soda Jerk, which is a great little game, although not technically from Asia. And Alibi is also from All Play, which is kind of like Portmanteau, the board game, and difficult but fun. Moving on to Oink. Now, Oink always is a point of contention. They always have really good games out there. These are the 3 games from Oink that I got. Probably their best seller was one called Dying Message, where you are trying to chase a serial killer and you're looking at the victim's dying message. Now, I did mention that, I think in the previous video, that that's pretty much the exact same theme and roughly the same mechanics as a Thailand game, a Thai game called Dying Message. And after having played both, I will say I like the Thai version a lot more, and I would recommend getting that one as opposed to the Oink one. Now, these are the ones that I got from Oink. Pedikit, absolutely great. It's about animals and hats, and you're gonna put, I think there are like 3 different animals, 3 different types of hats, and there's 3 different numbers. So every card has a number, a hat, and an animal, like a dog, cat, or duck. And there's the different combinations of each, and they're gonna be put into a line, and there's one here that's a question mark, and everyone's gonna create what they think that last number is. You're gonna 3, 2, 1, reveal, and then you're gonna see whoever had the most votes for that particular one. And you can debate, you argue over who is right, who is wrong. But I mean, there are times where it's, yeah, both are logical, but most of the time, there's one logical choice and nobody else picked it except for me, and everyone else is just wrong and stupid. No, not bitter at all. Not bitter. Next is Whaling Roulette, and this is about eels, and it has really good push your luck game, and I really did enjoy it. But I'll talk about these Oink games in detail as we are on the road to Spiel, and I'll do most of these on the road to Spiel because they're going to be a lot of videos from now until then. But the game that I was most excited about was Trend, or TRND. And Trend is a shedding game, and I always love shedding games. I like shedding games a lot more than trick-taking games. And I was really curious to try this one out, and it was good. It's not great. It's not one of the better card games from Oink, but it's still a solid game. Like, I would much rather play the Villains, or this is the Disney version of the Masked Men, and I like this more. Do Disney characters make a better game than faceless, emotionless luchadors from Mexico? Yes. Yes, it does. And this is the proof. However, between these two, I think I'd rather play this one. Out of all the shedding games that came out at GenCon and that I've had a chance to play, I would say that Otter definitely beats this one out of the park. Otter comes from Charming Games Collective. I always have trouble remembering that name. They came out with 2 games, and they came out with Capybara Crush and Otter. If you are looking for a publisher that makes cute animals in tuck boxes and very simple card games, this is the publisher to go to. Like, if this is your vibe, go no further, because this is what they specialize in, and they knock it out of the park every single time. Otter is a shedding game, and you have these otters that are doing these 3 little tableau of otters with 3 heads, 3 tails, and you're discarding cards into their bodies. I know it sounds a little weird, but it's fine. But before you discard, you can take the heads and swap the heads, or take a head and flip it over, or take the tails and flip it over. And then you choose one otter, and then you discard cards falling into it. And you must follow both the rules, being like even numbers of this suit, or higher being of this suit, meaning that the cards have to go in succession. So you're trying to play cards into one otter body as much as you can until the card you play can no longer follow both those rules, or the card you play can only follow one of those rules. And then you just keep playing. And it's a really clever game that I really enjoyed. So I definitely strongly recommend this, and checking out Charming Games Collective, because they'll be having Kickstarters like all the time. But I think that's going to be par for the course. I think in a post-tariff world, there are going to be a lot more Kickstarters more of the time, as publishers are trying to mitigate the risks and keep their margins tighter. Not from Asia, but all the way from South America is Takeover, which is a ladder climbing game. I haven't had a chance to play this yet, but the artwork is really, really cool. I've heard mixed reviews of the gameplay, but I'll probably share my thoughts on this further down the road. Now, next to Charming Games Collective, right across the hall, is the JP Pavilion, the Japanese Pavilion. Now, the Japanese Pavilion is always an enigma to me at GenCon. Essentially what it is, it's a few Japanese publishers that share one booth, at GenCon. So it's much easier for a collective of publishers to go as opposed to just one, and they could all share the cost. And it's hard because to know what's going to be there because I'm never sure what ends up going there. Now, if you pay attention to like all the games that are coming out at Tokyo Game Market in spring, a good chunk of those will make their way to the JP Pavilion every Gen Con now because it's going to be an annual thing. Some of the things that came out there that I have no idea what they are Oleanon, which is a numbers game. Take your opponent's cards and clear your hand. So I believe it's a shedding game with cool little numbers. There's another one here called Card Bullet Reload. And it has a whole bunch of cards with Japanese on them. So it's going to take me a while to translate that. But the rules are here on a nice QR code. And I got to say, like, I really, really like this. I really like cards and tuck boxes with rules as QR codes, even though the rules aren't here. I think having a digital one is great because then if there were a mistake in the rules that you need to clarify, you just edit the document, load it back up online, and then every time someone scans it, they're getting the new rules, which I think is cool. Also, at the JP Pavilion, I got this flag game called Flag Genius, and I believe it is a deduction game over flags. Like, what do you know about these countries and what are they? I have the English rules here, so I'm going to have to take some time and look into that. Now, the one I'm most excited that I got at the JP Pavilion is this one, and the name is, yes, Matchstick Tycoon. This came out at Tokyo Game Market in spring. And if you can see it here, I mean, there's a little bit of glare, but you are putting matchsticks on the cards to make numbers and rearranging them to change the numbers and do other numbers. So I'm really curious to see what it looks like and how it plays. But the artwork on this is, at least on this cover, is really, really gorgeous. So those are some games from the Japanese Pavilion. New from CMON, and CMON is Singapore/China, and they have an international release. And so I'm going to be doing more of their games moving forward. This is Collect, which is a cute little card game. So this will be on my Road to Spiel series, as I'll be reviewing more and more games that will be coming out at Spiel. So I'm definitely looking forward to this one. It has a cute little iguana and cute little artwork on here. Lots of great, cute little games. Now, similar to the Japanese Pavilion, there is, in a way, a Taiwanese Pavilion. So What If a World board games, which did Castle Raisers. I did a whole video on Castle Raisers. Definitely go check that out. That was at Gen Con. One of my favorite games from Asia so far this year. But they had their booth, and they had other publishers' games from like other publishers in Japan, other publishers from Korea. They had a lot of stuff. So if you think about Taiwanese games and Korean games, what was the best-selling game from that booth? Meow Meow Dice, of course, because it's cats. It's cats. But not only is it cats, it's the cats that are dice. So like the dice themselves are just so cute. They're so ridiculously cute. So you have this cube, right? There you can see the cat face. On the back is the cat tail. So underneath are the cat feet. And the top is the cat's top. And then you have the sides of the cat. So each one is kind of like this cat that's been squished into a cube, or a cat that just went into a cube because it liked it, because it's cozy. If it fits, it sits. And then there's a whole bunch of them in here. Now, the game that I did get to play, I didn't get to play my version, but I mean, I played someone else's, is cute. It's not amazing, but it is cute. It's comfortable. It definitely vibes with this whole cuteness factor of like, look at all these cute cats. Look at all these cute dice. See all the cute things that you could do with them. But it's not like super, super, super amazing. But it is a solid game. It does work. And it's incredibly, incredibly cute. Now, if Meow Meow Dice isn't enough for you, there's also Meow 10. I definitely want to say Meow Meow 10. But you know what? Just to keep this going, you have Meow in a row. And so you have this huge Meow series from Plate Games. So this is something else that I'll be talking about more on the Road to Spiel. Look at these games. They're incredibly cute. You know what's even cuter than this is on the back of this, there's a tail, and the tip of the tail is a QR code. Not the QR code, but the barcode. Adorbs. Also from there is a new game from a Taiwanese publisher called Play With Us Design. They have won like the UKGE award for best party game. So I'm always curious to see what PWUD, Play With Us Design, is coming up with. And they came out with Club of Cthulhu, which I know nothing about. It's probably a party game because they really work well in party games, but it's 2 to 4. So I have no idea. It might be deduction, but the artwork looks great. It looks absolutely fantastic. And I always love Cthulhu games, so I'll definitely be checking this one out and sharing more on the road to Spiel. Also, from that Taiwan Korea pavilion is Last Lantern. Last Lantern also comes from Wonderful World Board Games, and this is a cooperative game where you are trying to light lanterns. I don't know much about the theme, but I've been hearing lots of good things about it, and it does look good. I'm definitely looking forward to getting this game out. I am working on a video right now, and so these will be played soon-ish, as soon as I can, and working these out on the road to GenCon. Now, I didn't get their third game this year because they did come out with 3 games, Wonderful World Board Games. They came with Castle Razors, which you already saw that video. It's Last Lantern, which is a cooperative game. But there's another one called Dragonarium, which they didn't really have copies of. The copies that they did have, they were used for talking about licensing, and it got picked up. So if you're living in Europe, Dragonarium will be readily available soon. Maybe. We'll see. One of the highlights of GenCon for me was finally getting a chance to meet with the publisher from India, Mosaic Games. Now, if you remember, a long time ago, I have reviewed some of their games, like Chai Garam, and I'm always curious to see the new games that come out of India, because they're coming out with some pretty solid bangers, in my opinion. I picked up 2 games from them. This is Valam Kali. Now, Valam Kali is about a boat race that happens in India, and the boat race looks really, really rad. It comes out of this huge, long board, and you are playing cards for racing. I know nothing about this game, but the vibes look really cool. It's this really long board, and I don't know, I'm really looking forward to this. The art is really, really cute and adorable, and I just love the theme, and I love that it's something from Indian culture and being spread out and gamified for everyone. Also from Mosaic Games is probably one of my favorite themes out of all of GenCon, and that is uninvited guests. You are a guest crashing an Indian party and just getting there for free food, free dance, free whatever, and pictures were taken at the party, and then you are trying to remove pictures that were gathered so you can prevent people from deducing who you are, and so that way you can crash more parties in the future without getting caught. Adorable theme, fantastic theme, and I really, really can't wait to get this one to the table. Plays 2 to 8, and look, oh, the plastic's coming off, people. It's coming off. Plastic's gone. I really love the theme of this game, and I can't wait to play it. I think more games should be like this, with really cool themes, something that you never even think about before. So if you're looking forward into games from India, definitely check out Mosaic Games, because a lot of their games are just bangers. Moving on to a blast from the past. If you go to the videos of the Cardboard East YouTube channel and you go all the way back, the second video I ever made, I talked about one game, and you can see the prototype version of it. Now, flash forward to today, many years later, and 12 Rivers comes out again. Now, 12 Rivers is a game that probably has the biggest table presence out of all the games here, and that's because it has this 3D map here, and you're dropping marbles going down these rivers into this one lake at the bottom of the board. It's really stunning to look at, and they had an X amount for each day at GenCon, and every day they sold out. So Friday, I think Thursday, they sold out, I believe, in the first hour, and Friday they sold out, I believe, in the first 2 hours. Saturday and Sunday were both slower days at GenCon, so they didn't sell out. But man, oh man, this version of 12 Rivers is so much better than the original. And why is that? Well, they made some things, they tweaked some things, they made it overpowered, they increased the size of the marbles, which is great. And so now they fit onto the llama board. There's the players, the little contracts that you get where you have to get certain sequences of marbles, like blue, blue, red, red, blue, blue, or wilds of any color. They made those require fewer resources, so you can refill them much more easily. It's not as painfully tight, and it's a really solid game. It's a good game. Now, a lot of people say that, oh, it's not this amazing, Glory to Rome or Great Western Trail level of like deep thought of the game. But you know what? Like for this concept of marbles coming down the river, I could easily see this like 10 years ago coming out and just being trash. But this is a solid game. Like the mechanics in this game are quite solid. And this new version from, I believe, Good Games is much better than the original version. So I think that's absolutely fantastic. I love that an old Taiwanese game got picked up again and is now readily available. Now, when 12 Rivers first came to Spiel, oh man, I believe a few years ago, it sold out on the first day in like an hour and a half. It was just gone, absolutely gobbled up because everyone was talking about it. And now you should have a better chance of getting it at Spiel. I believe they're going to Spiel. Don't quote me on that. But if they do, you got to run and get it because the table presence alone is just fantastic. And they made all the components even better. They made the contracts better. They made the little cards better. The card art is better. The quality of all the components is just much better. And it fits into the box much more easily than the original version. So this is a complete upgrade from, I wouldn't say it's radically different. Probably maybe 1.5 as opposed to 2.0. But if you were looking for 12 Rivers and you wanted to get it, now's your chance. Now, going back in time to a few weeks before GenCon, I got an email from a Chinese publisher. And they're like, hey, Jay, we really love the content. Would you like to review one of our games? I said, yeah, sure. I would love to review maybe just two of your games. And they said, great, that's great. Here's our catalog. And it's this giant PDF. I opened it up and it's like, oh, wow, there's like 40 to 50 pages of games. So I look at the first few pages and they're all like stuff for toddlers, like 3 and up, 4 and up. I'm like, okay. These are a little too light for what I want to review. So I just scrolled all the way to the bottom. Just went straight down to the bottom. And it's like, oh, okay, these are 15 and up. I say, all right, let's check out these games. These are the meta games. Let's do it. And I saw one for Romance of the Three Kingdoms. I said, hey, let's do it. Let's do a Romance of the Three Kingdoms game. I think it'll be fun. And so I asked, like, hey, does this Romance of the Three Kingdoms game have English rules? He's like, yes, we can give you English rules. Not a problem. So that's really exciting. Now, if you don't know what Romance of the Three Kingdoms are, like I grew up in America, and when you grow up in America, there are like certain novels that you have to read. Like maybe everyone reads Huckleberry Finn, or everyone reads like Tom Sawyer, or you read The Crucible. There are just these classic old novels that you just read as you're going through the American education system. Now, that being said, when you go through China, they have 4 classic novels. And these are big novels. And these are things that are written like hundreds of years ago that still are read today. But they've limited themselves to 4. One of them is Romance of the Three Kingdoms. There are tons of video games, there are movies, TV shows, the comic books made about the Three Kingdoms. There are tons of sayings that come from Romance of the Three Kingdoms that people still use today. Think of it as like Shakespeare for your Western mind. Like there are a lot of old like sayings, common sayings that we use today that can be traced back to one of Shakespeare's plays or one of his writings. So that's what Three Kingdoms is to China. So I said, you know what? Let's do a Romance of the Three Kingdoms game. Let's do it. And I go up there and they're, oh yes, Jay, here you go. Here's your game. And it's this massive game. And they're like, oh, by the way, here's the expansion. But they didn't ask for, but they gave it to me anyway. And I'm like, oh, okay. So this is going to be a big feat, and it's much bigger than I was anticipating. So I'm going to do my best to get this out to you and let you know what I think about this big, epic game. Now, on top of that, I did see another game out there, and I was like, you know what? This game looks kind of cool. It's like a very simple like contract fulfillment game. Let's just try that out. And so I reached out. It's like, you know, let's do this one as well. And they're like, okay. I was expecting a nice little Ticket to Ride box, but no, I got this massive box. Look at this. This is huge. And I don't know what I was thinking because this is what they do in China. Like they will have massive boxes. If you are a TTRPG gamer and you like tabletop RPGs, the Chinese, like in America, we give you a book. Here's a hardback book. Here you go. Go off on your quest and have lots of fun. And in China, they have boxes like bigger than this. They're like the size of, I don't know, a size 18 shoebox. Massive boxes, and it's just filled with tons of stuff. Like they go way, way, way over the top of the production scale for their TTRPGs. And those, even with that big, like size 18 shoebox, those are like just one-off scenarios. Like it's a 13-hour campaign. There you go. That's it. But you get this massive shoebox. And so it's a very, very different world than what we expect in America compared to our TTRPGs where we just get a book. So when they go over the top, like sometimes they have like boxes that are massive, like really, really big boxes for a card game. So like in China, they'll give you this big like shoebox. And then in Japan, they'll give you like a tiny little box. So there's just different cultures, different styles of production. So naturally, we're not going to give you a TTR box size, like Ticket to Ride size box, you know, that classic Calyx size box. We're going to give you this massive box for this game. And there's a lot, oh man, this is a heavy, heavy box. Like, I think there are metal components in here. There are 3D shops that you make out of cardboard that you put onto this map. Like the art itself is gorgeous. So, wow. So that is something that I have to deal with in the next, couple of months. Now, I did also forget a few more things. So one of my favorite card games of all time is Hachi Train. In fact, I teeter back and forth about whether or not I like it more than Scout. And it's one of my favorite shedding games, but it's incredibly difficult to find, dare I say, impossible. But now you can easily find it with Jungo. Now, people will say, Jay, I played Jungo. Isn't Jungo and... Hold on, I forgot to bring it. Just give me a second. It's right here. I can get it. Just wait 1 second. Jay, isn't it the same thing as Nana Toridori? In fact, is it here? It's right here. Speak of the devil. So, Hachi Train came out, then Nanadori came out, and now we have Jungo. So you're probably asking yourself, what's the difference? Well, Hachi in Japanese means 8. Nana in Japanese means 7. So with this version, there are cards 1 through 8, as well as these cards that were doubles, like 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Now this is Nana Toridori. They added some meeples. I mean, before in this one, it was just like, oh, you lose. let me see if I can find it here. Don't worry. It's coming. And yes, here we go. So you have $2 million. You lose, then it gets $100 million. You lose again, and then you're out. So if you are still alive and not the ones that are kicked out, then hey, you win the game. So when Nana Toridori was licensed by ArcLight Games, which is one of the biggest publishers in Japan, they did a version where they took out just those cards and they just did meeples. So instead of taking a card, flipping it over twice, you get these meeples of birds. Oh, you lose a meeple, and then you're out. Really simple, really clean, right? And it has better table presence. So there's a card and then 2 cute bird meeples. I mean, that was a good design strategy. But what they didn't do is that they removed all the 8s. So now instead of Hachi, you have Nana. So instead of 8, you have 7. So this is the version from KTPG, which stands for Kids Table Board Games. So this one, they took out the meeples, which I'm very confused about why, and then they made them punch board. And it's one of those punch board things where you punch it out and like, here's the bird, and then here's the stand, and you kind of wedge it in between, like one of those things. And I'm thinking to myself, it's like, you know what? I understand they took out the meeples probably for cost. I understand that. But then I thought, why even have the birds at that point? Why not just get rid of them entirely and just not have them if the goal is to cut costs? So, but they turn it into punch board, and it's fine. It's okay. I mean, they don't really serve a function in the game anyway. But then if they didn't do that, then just why have it? That's my rant. But now we have Jungo with monkeys. And monkeys are very cute and adorable. The art is very cute and adorable. This is from Cocktail Games and licensed by Happy Camper. Same thing with Nana becoming Trio. Same thing with Cocktail Games and Happy Camper. So this is actually Hachi Chain. They have the 8s in here. They also have the wilds, same as this one with the 1 and 2. And but it has some of these rules where it's a little bit softer in play. Whereas this one was much harder, it had much more hard decisions. This one had a lot of conditions like, well, if this happens, you could do A or B. And this one is very strict. It's like, if this happens, B happens, that's it. So there is an advanced play. You can play Hachi Train with these cards, or you can play like the non-Toridori rules with these decks. So if you had to choose between these three, I'll go with this one 10 out of 10 times. I love Hachi Train. I love it. But this has a better artwork, a better card quality, and but it is a bigger box. So there is something there. But I do like Jungo. It's one of my favorite games from this year so far. So that is my cute little Jungo Nanatori Hachi Train rant. Moving on. Now, I did forget these two games, which came from Plate, but they were shipped in. So we have Dance of the Ibexes, which is a goat game. And I'll have to play this one, but this is one that looks really, really cute. And I love these boards that just unfold. And so there is no game board, it is the box. Fantastic. Love Plate games. My Plate video, which I already had outlined, just doubled its size because Plate just sent me even more games. So now I have to do even more. So I might do, maybe I do a series of Plate games, but I have a lot, maybe 20 Plate games, maybe more to kind of burn through, and I'm going to do a whole video on all of them. And so that's going to be fun. Look out for that in the coming months. But the highlight, I think, that they sent me, which is Orapa Space. Now, Orapa Mine came out, and I loved Orapa Mine. I think it's a fantastic two-player game. Think of it as a much better battleship. I really enjoyed the game. Now, you can play this with multiple players, but Orapa Mine is still best with two. Orapa Space, same game, but with space components, but components that look a lot better. Now, also, the only problem, though, that I have with it is that in Orapa Mine, you had these straight angular shapes. You had like a square, you had a rhombus, you had a parallelogram, and if the light goes here, it bounces back. If it's an angle, it bounces like this, goes like this. Really clean to understand. But because the shapes in this game are like circles, ideally I understand like they do abstract it out to where they show you the shapes. Like this isn't really a circle, it's more like an octagon. And then if it goes here, it goes here. But because it's curved, it is confusing for some people, which is really unfortunate. And I kind of wish that on these pieces, they had like the planets, right? And I kind of wish that instead of having this like magnet on the other side, I wish they kind of had something that was on the other side that you could do that shows you like the geometric shape as opposed to a circle. So it makes it a little bit easier for players. But that being said, now the question is like, well, Jay, which do you prefer? Do you prefer Orapa Mine or Orapa Space? And that's a tough call. It's a tough call. Orapa Mine is much easier, much more intuitive because of the straight angles here. The shapes are more interesting in Orapa Space, but I gotta say that I think Orapa Space might win because they have a black hole. And the black hole can warp the laser that comes in. So essentially how this game works is there's a grid like A through Z and like 1 through whatever. And then you would just say, I shoot a laser at E. So it comes in at E. Let's say it hits like a blue diamond. And I'll tell you, oh, it comes out at 4 as blue. If it hits blue-white, it comes out here. Say, oh, it comes out here as sky blue. So that way you know that, oh, it hit blue and white. And you're trying to deduce your opponent's board. Now, with this one, there's a black hole, which can warp the light, and it goes, meow, and throws a curveball at players. I love that. I absolutely love that. It's incredibly thematic. But the curves, I don't know. But I'm really happy with Orapa Space. I think Orapa itself is just a great game. If you don't have Orapa Space, definitely get Orapa Mine. If you want to have something more in a space theme and you have people who can understand that the circle is actually an octagon, then yes, go with this. While I was away, I got a big package from Mandu Games from Korea. Now, Mandu Games sent me Giraffe Raff. It's a card game. I don't know very much about it, but I'll let you know more about it. So this is exciting. They have Cup the Crab, which is also a card game. Don't know much about it, but killer artwork. Has crabs going into cups. Really cute idea. And then I have Kingdom of Dice, which is a dice game with the cards. I know nothing about this, but I will be sharing more about this on the road to GenCon. This is going to be really exciting. Yeah, it's going to be really, really exciting. The one I'm excited most about this, though, is Cup the Crab, because the artwork is just fantastic. And how each card is a cup, it just is really, really clever. So hiding in this corner all the way over here, and I almost missed it, is Escape from the Moon. It's originally from Jugame Studio, a little tiny publisher in Japan. It got picked up by Salt and Pepper Games, and they brought it to Spain. And then now I got it at GenCon, Escape from the Moon. Now, this is actually 2 games. So if you open it up, you're gonna find you're gonna find 2 rule books. One, English for the rules, English for the scenarios, because there are scenarios in this game. They come with sleeves, fantastic. And then you can see 2 cards. Don't open them both up. One of them is English, one of them is Spanish. So if you have a friend who's fluent in Spanish, well, you could just keep the English cards for yourself and then give them the Spanish cards, because why not? In fact, there are even Spanish rules here, and you can just give them this, and that's a complete game. Now, maybe you can be mean and be like, I'm not giving you the box. You got to figure that out on your own. And they got to figure that out on their own. But it's actually 2 copies of the game in here, so you could just keep this one for yourself. Or just put this in a cute little tuck box, and Bob's your uncle. That's what you have. This is a solo game. Now, I have been wanting to do my favorite solo games from Asia for a while, and this one looks like it. Now, even though it's just a tiny little deck of cards, there are quite a number of scenarios in here, and each game lasts, I don't know, about 20 minutes. So I'm really looking forward to showing this to you. I've been waiting to get better rigging, to get better camera, to get better equipment, to have something overhead, so that way I could do some playthroughs of some single player games. But this one, all the way from Spain, Escape from the Moon, definitely pick up a copy, find yourself a friend who's fluent in Spanish, and then buy one, get 2 free. Like that's fantastic. Or is it buy one, get one free? Yeah. Now, all the way from Canada is Synopsis Games, and they license a game all the way from Japan from a publisher that you might know as Akazu brand, whose designer you may know as Hisashi Hayashi, who won the Spiel des Jahres this year for Bomb Busters. But Yokohama Duel is now out and available. Now, this is a 2-player version of the classic game Yokohama, in which case I will tell you that Yokohama, if you got the new version, you're in for a treat, because that universe isn't over yet. That's all I'm going to say. So, all I'm going to say. But Yokohama Duel is out, and they were giving these away, or selling them at Gen Con. And I even got this. This is really cool. It's a first player token. Let's look at it. Comes in here. I haven't opened it up yet. Ooh, that is chonky. If you want to ever know who's number 1, it's me. Now, I'm pretty excited about this. Now, I've always said that I like Yokohama more than Yokohama Duel. And if I ever wanted to play a 2-player version of Yokohama, I would just play Yokohama. That being said, though, I think Yokohama Duel is still a better game than other 2-player contract fulfillment games. It's still much better, even though it doesn't have that logistical train that comes out. But this is Yokohama Duel. This is the token in here, and I will do a review of this later on. I won't be able to do Yokohama versus Yokohama because I got rid of my Yokohama Duel because someone in Taiwan really wanted it, and I gave it away. So, but this is a much nicer version, much nicer artwork. Has the artwork from this new version of from Synopsis Games. So I'll be reviewing this in the future on the road to Spiel. But without fail, the one game I was most excited about at Gen Con was Age of Galaxy from Portal Games. Now, Portal Games is not from Asia at all, but the game is. The game originally comes from Ice Makes, which is a Hong Kong publisher. Now, this game originally came out many, many moons ago. And now Portal Games picked up the international English license, have cleaned it up, went back to the publisher and said, hey, in your original design, is there anything in the game that you always wanted to include but didn't include? And he says, yes, I made this new solo variant and I changed the rules up. And he says, great, we're going to include that in this version. And they redid all the artwork, redid all the icons. It's a much nicer, more beautiful version of the game. And man, oh man, I am super pumped about it. Now, think of this as a 4X game, but usually in a 4X game, you have like just one faction and that's your ability. But in this game, you're going to be like a federation. So you're going to have like 3 factions, and each faction is going to give you an ability. And the fact that there are like 30 or so factions in here, and each one gives you ability, that's 30 times 29 times 28. That's like an endless amount of unique collection of powers, words, English, no, for you to explore this game. So I am super, super pumped to try this. And I really like Ignacio's development style. His development team at Portal Games always does great work. I mean, Robinson Crusoe is one of my favorite games of all time. And so now I'm playing this in space, and this looks really fantastic. I haven't played it yet, but this is my contender for one of the best games of 2025. Now, I did get a review copy, and they sent me another copy, so I don't know what to do. I'm going to play this one. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this one. Maybe do it a giveaway, maybe send it back. Probably not send it back, but I think I'll probably do a giveaway and just give this to some lucky people here. Woo! Well, that was GenCon, and there are a lot of games out here that I got to get ready for in the next few months on the road to Spiel. Once again, my name's Jay. I play board games from Asia and share what I find with all of you. I'm going to link up here to a video that I think you'll enjoy. See you there.